Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here,
And BlueDragonFive.
and we're back to recap Season 5, Episode 1 of Fox's retelling of the Dark Knight mythology, entitled Year Zero. So join us as we venture into Batman's birthplace.
And explore Gotham.
Ooh, boy. Man, oh man, Dragon. We have a lot to talk about, buddy. And a lot to
Oh,
talk about.
yes.
This is like a giant prime rib that we're digging into, man.
Yep, it's just like a steak.
All right, so Dragon, I have a feeling that the start of this episode is going to very much reflect your thoughts and my thoughts as a whole. So with that in mind, you want to just like dive right into it?
Yeah, sure. Also want to give a shout out to Winter Eyes, who's joining us in the comments. Big old Gotham fan. We need more of those around these parts. Where you're come back to season 5, we did like a whole spec video about how excited we are. So yes, let's dive right into it.
All right, let's dive into let's cut into the steak that Oswald Cobblepot was eating, but then fed to Edward the dog.
Overcooked.
All right. So, Dragon, I just want to illustrate. I know you're not a Lost fan, but I just want to illustrate like the very first thing I have in my notes is in all caps. They're pulling a Lost. Oh my God, they're pulling a Lost. And that's in regards to the cold open time jump, where it's like, wow, like what's going on? Like, okay, we can kind of piece together some things, but we really need to know how we got there. Dragon, I know Breaking Bad did it, but trust me, Lost did it first. Lost laid the foundation for Breaking Bad's sort of what the hell is going on style cold open. So I don't know. I just want to illustrate like that really that it kind of made me nostalgic. Like this is like the most high concept I feel like Gotham's ever gotten with the big time jump and then kind of rewinding and kind of giving a whole tease of the very, the end game, if you will. And
That's another Scott Snyder story, but okay, no, I'm kidding. Yeah.
I know it's another Scott Snyder story.
I know. It's going to happen because of Avengers. Everyone's going to go to Endgame, and they're going to completely forget about that story. The minute that's
you know what, Dragon? I have a vow. Let's make a vow that we're going to cover Scott Snyder's Endgame by the time Endgame comes out.
Yeah, I'm down for that because after
I mean, I don't even. I just want to promise. I just want to like keep in mind, like I don't promise you that we'll read everything else in between that, but I'll dive into it blind if you're down.
Well, Tika, that's the thing. It's right after Zero Year, so it's literally you do Zero Year, then you do Endgame.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, what was I like? Oh yeah, so just to echo your sentiments, yeah, I had two things run through my mind when that opening played out. One, aside from was for no seriously, for starters, it was I got a bit of Breaking Bad season 5, which got me excited, and the second thought, which connected to that, was when we were speculating. My hope against hopes was that season 5 of Gotham get experimental and kind of basically each episode getting more ambitious narratively in what they're doing things like this. This gets me really excited. Makes me think we're gonna do some of the stuff I wanted to see this season, like maybe episodes that are a little bit more character focused. Kind of jump around that. Maybe do a major flashback episode around episode 4. Stuff like that. So I mean, this is a very good sign, and also kind of plays into the marketing. The marketing, they had like day this number, day that number, and a day 300 and I believe it's 300. Yeah, 391, which is what we start with. Basically, we have one right off the bat. I love the first image of the whole thing is Gotham in shambles, and then no man's land. Day 300.
Yeah, I love that. That's like that's just like a we're not messing around. It's like okay. You know what, fans? You know what? We're not messing around. We're gonna give you exactly what you want right up front, like in all capital, like Civil War style bold letters.
Exactly. It's like the letters we're so used to with just the Gotham logo. Now these letters are floating around, but there's such gravitas and emotion attached to them, man. But yeah, seriously. So I mean, because they played in the marketing, because you and I, we went in expecting a specific time jump at the start, and then it kind of blows us out of the water. Like, no, we're going even further. We're just going to tantalize you with it, buddy boy. So yeah, so essentially this is like a year and change what we start with. So basically a year or so down the at least a year time jump to kind of the finale. At least I suppose that's kind of what we're kind of teased with right at the
Uh,
start here. So again, the finale looks awesome. It makes me really excited to get into it, and just they're having a lot of fun. Before we get to that shot, we have a lot of great
you
build
know
up
what it
to it.
reminds me of, Dragon? Like legitimately, it's kind of Nolan-esque.
Yeah, it is. It is Nolan-esque, but you know what? As much as we love to reference this, we did have a little bit of Freakazoid in this episode with
Oh
"We'll
no.
Meet Again" playing on a record, which of course was Freakazoid's finale. It had "We'll
Yep,
Meet
yep.
Again." So again, the two my two favorite animated shows technically have intermingled in live action somehow.
God.
It's a convoluted way of looking at it, but I'm satisfied with that. Anyway, so We'll Meet Again plays as the Riddler suits up. Importantly, the Riddler looks all together. He has kind of a playing card with a really intricate question mark on it. He places that in his pocket, gives a little smile. We see Penguin arming himself up with a knife and everything, and he has the red sunglasses you really love from the marketing.
Mhm.
We have this great bit where Bullock. I really love this bit here. So Bullock
I
he
love
pours
the Bullock thing, man. The Bullock thing is the thing that made me most excited. It's like, yeah, we're back. We're in this world. All right.
So Bullock, he pours himself a drink, but importantly, he doesn't drink it. Now, to me, it's kind
Mhm.
of one of two ways. One, you can read as like an Eddie Valiant thing of like I've already had enough. I don't need it anymore. But what I like to look at it as, it's like a promise that I'm going to survive this. I'm going to come back. I'm going to take this shot. That's what I like to think of it as.
Dragon, I think that's an adorable way to look at it, but as an alcohol connoisseur myself, I wouldn't want to take a shot that's just been like sitting still on a bar for like God knows how long.
Well, I
Like
mean,
I'm just saying, like logistically, it wouldn't work out well. Like maybe flies would be getting into it. Like
all right, fine. Take the whimsy out of everything. Why don't you?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Well, but the point is, it's symbolic more than he's
No,
actually
I
going
hear
to
you.
take the
I hear you.
drink. It's
But I
symbolic.
feel like it's more symbolic in terms of like, all right, like Bullock's kind of like he's sort of leaving the lifestyle behind. It's like it's all or nothing for him. You know what
It's
I
a
mean?
sobering battle, to say the least. Let's be
Yeah, yeah,
fair
yeah,
with it.
exactly.
So Gordon, he's arming up, and I love this image too. It's like an image. I remember this from the Long Halloween, so I really love that they kind of pulled from a different source, and I just love how it looks. Gordon wearing this bulletproof vest. They get like this flat jacket or whatever he's wearing. This vest that says GCPD on it. It looks great. Just him going in the battle, leading the charge as all the four characters we just saw kind of meet up in one of the big promo shots. It looks great, and again, I love it. They all converge. Like all four of them said, somehow at the end of the season, all the four of these guys, Gordon, Bullock, Penguin, and Riddler are going to converge, working together, joined by like all the whoever's there with along with the GCPD, gather at the big wall. They've been hyping up this wall like crazy. The
Oh, I
market,
know, I
basically.
know.
So I love like basically this huge barricade, facing down this very militaristic army down below. And Gordon has this great line: says, "On my mark, for Gotham." For Gotham, it's firing, it's chaos. And to me, Tiki, we'd have to go back, and of course the season's not done yet. But for my money, this is the best cold open ever for Gotham.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, without a doubt, without a doubt. I thought that basically as soon as the No Man's Land thing popped on screen, honestly.
Yeah, but I mean seriously, for Gotham, then the Gotham logo pops up after all that firing. Come on,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, good.
All right, so let's see. So then we now this is what really jazzes me up about this. I mean, that already had me in for the season because look, I'm already in regardless. But that opening's like, okay, I'm so in. But then we have this really great opening, and Tiki, I gotta tell you, and this is gonna sound like just me talking at one of
Can
my
we also
favorite.
point out that we have the logo is slightly changed? It's got that lightning strike, and you can see the city behind it.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. So we
So-
have this. I'm sorry, you're saying?
no, I'm just saying. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's really cool. I love this. I love how cinematic the opening feels. And Tiki, look, it's just gonna sound like me talking about one of my favorite characters, but seriously, I gotta tell you, I think Ben McKenzie, like 5 years into the show, I mean, at this point, I don't know, he's been good. He's always played like I've always considered Ben McKenzie. He's a good young Jim Gordon, but he's not the definitive Jim. But he's getting there. And he's like it wouldn't be a
He's also
definitive
not
Jim.
the definitive young Jim Gordon.
Well, you know what I mean. But I'm saying, like, I'd elevate Cranston to just the definitive Jim before I'm thinking about young Jim Gordon. I'm saying, I guess it's pre-mustache Gordon, you know?
No, no, no. I'm saying year one Gordon is the definitive
Well,
Jim.
that's the Cranston Gordon, Tiki.
What?
Year one Jim Gordon is the Bryan Cranston Jim Gordon.
Oh, okay, okay.
Anyway, okay, what was
I'm
I
not
getting
an
at?
expert on the Gordon tiers, Dragon.
Yeah, but it's Cranston. All right, anyway, but no, seriously, I mean, I got to tell you, Ben McKenzie, I think more than ever before, and he's been good in the role, and he's, over the years he's grown into it. Again, basically, season four.
You know what would have been amazing though? I'm sorry, I hate to take away from your moment, but I just want to get this out there. When I was watching it, like we had this shot of Gordon's back, and I was like, okay, I know it's not possible unless they pulled a Cavill on the marketing, like basically a reverse Cavill. But wouldn't it be amazing if freaking Ben McKenzie turns around, boom, mustache?
I would have lost my mind. I legitimately would have. I would have gone
I
crazy.
honestly think that's a missed opportunity, Dragon. That's like my one nitpick of the cold open. My one nitpick.
I tell you, if the series ends the way I do, I think that's going to be the big mustache reveal. That's what I'm convinced. I think that's going to be our big mustache reveal. It's going to be like tear. Where I'm going to be crying when I see that mustache. I swear to God. No, but seriously. So here's the thing.
Never in podcasting history have two men both been so invested in facial hair, Dragon.
It's true. Very true. Okay, but okay, as I was saying, so the point is that Mackenzie, he's always been good in the role in season four, put him through the ringer, but like getting Gordon to that desperate kind of withered place. But again, the start of season five, just at this scene, he has a honey of a scene at the start of this thing. And it's the most Jim Gordon like I've ever heard.
I'm sorry, I like that. Honey of the scene.
This is the most Jim Gordon I've ever heard Ben McKenzie sound in the history of the show. And I was so blown away by it because he sounds so withered and tired and a guy clinging to hope, and that's that character. It's just, yes, again, if he had a mustache, it'd be perfect. That's it. But seriously, like, he's so close. He's like 90% there.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
But seriously, this is a really great scene. This feels like this is the perfect way to start a No Man's Land story. And then again, basically, it's a very cinematic opening. And in the past, Gotham has started off their season cinematic. But seriously, I think this might be the most cinematic we've gotten with it. Basically, we have kind of a status quo recap at the start of things. It's day 87. So that's where we're starting things. So 87 days have passed since the bridges were blown up at the end of season 4. So just to sum, I believe I could go all day on this. Let's summarize it a bit here. Jim's trying to get the government's assistance, which is a big fixture of No Man's Land. Basically, when you saw a bit of it in Dark Knight Rises, and I really love how they took that. One of my favorite bits with Jim Gordon in Dark Knight Rises, one of my favorite lines, Oldman delivers in that, and they really made a fixture of this episode, where Gordon's waiting to, the whole "we're on our own." It means we're on our own. Like that line from Dark Knight Rises really had a lot of resonance here, where it's. Gordon had this relationship with the government where he's just basically begging for assistance and trying to get him to, really kind of do the right thing. Because the government here, the government unofficially has kind of given up on Gotham because Gotham was always this crime-ridden city and it was always just kind of like a problem city. So they're just kind of taking the opportunity to. It's like kind of lowest on the tier of like we got to get this thing fixed up and everything, and it's a mess. And against all criminals over there at the moment during No Man's Land. So. Gordon she's trying to get assistance. We have this great visual. And Tiki, one of the most memorable visuals from No Man's Land, like it was all over the comics, and it's a big fixture. You see many versions of it in the comics. Is Gordon's map. You always have this map of Gotham because Gotham, and of course the Arkham games definitely literally use the map of Gotham when they go through an Arkham City and everything. Where basically it's Gotham carved up in the territory, so you know who has what. And again, it's a very prolific image from No Man's Land. I love just seeing that. Again, this is the cinematic kind of quality I'm talking about here. We're going over there, if like you freeze frame, you can see like Zaz has a territory, and then basically Gordon gives us the rundown, like who has what. And again, this feels very almost like Arkham game, where like, I'm going to cite Arkham Origins because Arkham Origins had a great kind of like we run about and we kind of get a little synopsis of our characters here, where they are. So.
It's like an exposition dump, but it's a damn compelling exposition dump.
Exactly. So we have penguins in City Hall, and again, importantly, this is great stuff for No Man's Land because you got to remember, Tiki, what they're establishing here is that money means nothing in Gotham now because there's no wealth doesn't mean anything in the traditional sense. It's all about survival now and who has what, and that's all about what No Man's Land's about here. So Penguin.
I hate to say this, but it also kind of reminds me of like like The Walking Dead, but keyword when it was good, all right? Like, like the season 3 through 5 era of The Walking Dead.
All right, so Penguin's held up in City Hall, and he has all the weapons. He has like an armaments factory. So basically, Penguin's the only source of bullets. And again, this is a great thing. I love how this has had great effect in this episode here. Bullets were a commodity in the GCPD. In the books. They would run low on ammo, and that'd be a really big sticking point. I love that that continues to be a problem. I just love how they adapted that. So that's great. So Penguin has all the armaments, which means he's kind of the most powerful guy in Gotham because he has all the bullets that can kill everybody. Let's see. So yeah, bullets and
Bullet.
again weapons and bullets. Again, the Penguin's got the whole thing. And he's in City Hall, pretty big compound if you want to look at it that way too. So then we have Babs at the Sirens Club, and she's got all the food and the booze, which again it's a little bit of a change up, but perfectly welcome. So because Penguin's always been an arms dealer in the comics, they just gave him all arms. So Barbara, she's got the club in about like a few blocks around the club, I guess. So she's got all the food and booze they want, and so far so good with this because I'm really worried about how they're going to do the whole no men zone of all this because she was really anti-men at the end of season 4.
No
it seems
boys
like
allowed.
it seems like they're approaching it smartly at the start of this year because the idea, and I really love this idea, that Barbara exchanges information instead of money at the club. So men with the proper information, they could buy windows of time, which basically means men are allowed, if they bring information, they can hang out in the club for like an hour or however the information buys them. Of course, a guy kind of blows Barbara off, and Tabitha, she's not having that. Little demonstration there. We have the Scarecrow. Scarecrow, he's just all wanting like crazy. It's all chaos and fear.
I'm in love with this character design, man. To me, it's like it's easily the best depiction of the Scarecrow I've seen on screen.
It's cool. They gave him the hat, the scythe, everything. He's even got the little mouth folds. Like the little, basically the mouth that you can move where you couldn't move it in Nolan movies because it's just a burlap sack.
Oh.
It's a little bit of mobility. There, and this is a bit from the comic too. I don't know if I think it was with Black Mask instead of the Scarecrow. I'm not sure. It's been a while. Might have been with Scarecrow. Just for all credits due. We have this great haunting cross bit where he's like he's putting the guy on a cross and just like leading his followers in fear. It's like, yeah, that's Scarecrow. All right, that's cool. That's really cool.
Right. We have Victor Freeze and Firefly kind of in a in a fire versus ice turf war, if you will.
And that's something they've been building up every. They always like kind of are competitive with each other. So now it's just kind of a turf war. So that's going on. No sign of Jeremiah Valeska, very eerily, and that's going to come back in a big way, and that's going to be cool. Meanwhile, GCPD. So here's what we set up with the GCPD. GCPD have 10 blocks. They're building in 10 blocks surrounding it. Currently they have 150 civilians. They have they're in charge of feeding and protecting them. And of course, the number could grow even bigger. And of course, there's some. The reason there are still people in Gotham, in case anyone's curious, and I do like this rationale. Not everybody could get, like again, Jim was saving a little girl on the bridge. And not everybody could get out while the city was being evacuated. Even when they were doing, like the government, the idea is the government did one evac. So when the bridge is blown, they sent boats over there, take as many people out there. But again, you had people who were sick and some people who just physically couldn't leave or couldn't make the boat or just couldn't get out of there. And the government, as we see, are not really in the business of helping right now. So that's why people are stuck in Gotham. And 150 saw the lights and they came to the GCPD as Jim wanted. So that's what's happening there. Unfortunately, the GCPD is running low on resources. Again, food, water, medicine, essentials. They're running low, and Jim's really worried about the kids specifically. He's really worried about how they're going to fare. And again, the government unofficially have given up. And my favorite bit in the whole episode, thematically in the whole episode, is where Gordon's saying, like, just say we're on our own, and here's static, like nothing. He's not getting the official orders. Just like it's so you hear the disappointment in his voice. And again, it's just Jim Gordon being disappointed with the system of like, just say we're on our own, so I can tell my men something, so I don't have to keep clinging to hope like this when it may or may not exist. And it's just, oh boy, it's a great opening. It's a great start to the season, I guess. Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
all right, so now we get to, I'm sorry, this is like a lowbrow joke, but now we get to 13 Reasons Why.
Okay, I think it's a little premature for that one, but okay.
I'm sorry. That was a That was a dark one.
That
Man,
isn't
I gotta
bad.
tell you though, I'm still reeling from this, man. This was a lot to take in on this first episode with Selena, man. I frankly, I'm surprised this wasn't a TVMA.
But seriously, really, I love how before we get to that, what we start with here, I love how this is shot. I love how Selena and Bruce, like Selena's in the foreground, Bruce Alfred and the Doctor in the background, keep racking focus. It's a beautifully composed shot. All right, so what happened?
All right, so basically, the Doctor is kind of telling them that there's some sort of complication with Selena, and they need to operate.
Yes, her spine risks collapsing in on itself. So she's paralyzed, and her spine risks collapsing in on itself because she wasn't able to. They weren't able to get her at it. So we find out she wasn't evac from Gotham after all, which means that's why that's most likely. They don't say this explicitly. I think the intimation is that she became paralyzed because she didn't get proper medical treatment in time because she wasn't evac to a better hospital, and all chaos was breaking out. So she's paralyzed, and even in her paralyzed state, her spine could become jelly, as she phrases it later on. So that's not good. No doctor, but I don't think that sounds good. So I love so in the shot. I love how we focus on her hearing the bad news, and Bruce goes over there and he promises. And again, given the whole what happens in this episode with Selena and Bruce, this is a really tragic moment at the start here. On our rewatch, Bruce promises that he'll be there for her, and you see her just really upset looking at her because we know what's going through her mind right now. Like, Bruce is going to be there, but what comfort is that going to bring her?
Yeah, totally.
All right, let's see. So then we have a wise guy in the Putz, as Bullock puts it. You have a Putz in the GCPD, accusing Bullock and everybody, and the cops of getting more food than everybody else. He's kind of almost inciting a riot. Lucius explains, importantly, Lucius is our smart guy in the room here. Again, Tiki, you got to give it this. There's exposition all over this episode, but at least it feels, I don't know, it feels story relevant. It doesn't feel like tacked on. That's like the only slight knock I give against the episode, but I don't care. I'm just having a good time with it. We don't care.
Well, I mean, right. I mean, to me, it's like it's a good like. I feel like the map is an appropriate symbol for this episode because this episode very much is it's not so much like oh man, that was like a really well crafted narrative. It's more just kind of like a guide map of like, okay, there's a lot to take in. This season's breaking new ground. And with that breaking new ground, we have to we have to establish what is what. So that's I feel like this episode was necessary and as effective as it possibly could be in terms of like, all right, we need to get we need to put all the pieces on the chessboard and let the audience know where those pieces are and what the positions are. And we're going to do that in the most entertaining way possible, man.
Exactly. So Lucius is kind of our rations guy. He explains the whole ration thing where, they're going to have to cut down on food supply and they only have a certain amount. So that's why they're rationing out. And at some point they're going to run out at this point. Because again, 87 days have gone by. It's a number, I guess, it's been a couple months. So they've been lucky to kind of get by with what they have, and again, what they have has been able. They've probably been scrounging.
Makes you wonder what happens like literally hundreds of days in, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's going to be very interesting. And of course, what happens in this episode is a wonder. That means they're not going to be able to do what they do in this episode again. So I mean, again, resources are going to be deplenished, folks. That's the thing. That's the cool thing about No Man's Land, Tiki. Again, there's a ticking clock to it all. You don't get anything for nothing. And we already kind of set that up for 4 seasons in Gotham. Everyone gets something for something. In this case, like it's even more cutthroat in Gotham now, more than ever it was before. So, point is, Lucius explains the whole food rationing system. Then Gordon kind of walks in. I love the eerie respect for Gordon at the GCP. Jim Gordon's kind of become the folk hero of Gotham, especially in these dire times. And the idea is that Gordon is kind of our proto Batman figure now. Where again, before we have a Batman. I mean, to the people of Gotham, before we have the symbol of Batman, right now, the only symbol of order in Gotham they have, the only closest thing to a Batman figure they have, is Gordon right now. The guy who's kind of keeping them fed and protected and everything. He comes up to him and he says, using that proscenium stage of the GCPD. I love it.
Yeah. I love how the stage comes back. That's great.
You don't like the rules? Leave. And again, Bullock sends the guy packing. So then we have a little kind of decompression with Lucius, Jim, and Bullock. Basically explain the whole. They have a month of food left and they have no help. No help from the government as per usual. Month of food left and. Bullock has this great line, but I'm never paying taxes again. As Bullock's at it with the government, who can blame him after what they've done to him? Just what they've done to Gotham here is leave him high and dry. So let's see. So again, Gordon's clinging to hope before admitting the whole on our own thing, because Lucius is asking, like, so we're on our own. Again, Gordon's just clinging to hope that, not officially. So again, as much as Gordon would just instantly like to agree with Lucius there, he's just holding out hopes that, you know what, we don't know that for certain. They're going to help us. They got to help us. It's the right thing to do, right? So, it's all there. Mm-hmm. Right now, we do our jobs, and of course, Bullock makes the point that they're very low on ammo, which means, they have to use their bullets carefully. And, of course, they run cops without bullets. All you have is a scare tactic, with the empty gun before people figure out if people get wind of that, then you're really in trouble. So, also, you have the Penguin who has all the bullets and all of the guns, which means they could easily take him out at any time if he gets wind of them low on ammunition. Mm. All right, so Nigma, what's happening there?
All right, so Nigma wakes up on a very unfamiliar couch. He's very disheveled. He has no idea where he is. The couch is in the middle of an alley, right?
Yeah, it's either there, I think it's an alley. It might be a rooftop, but I think it's an
alley. That's what I'm thinking, either an alley or a rooftop.
I think there's a dog there. I imagine the dog.
Dragon. It's a rooftop.
Cool. So, Enigma's been experiencing blackouts, Bates Motel style. No, he's just been experiencing... Well, he has a split personality, so it's not far off. But anyway, so Enigma's been experiencing blackouts since... here's the thing. So Enigma doesn't know this yet, but he's been experiencing blackouts since Hugo Strange patched him up. Penguin ordered Hugo Strange to patch him and Lee up, and he's been suffering some memory issues, hence the blackouts. But he thinks Ed, again, right now the Riddler's the dominant personality, but the ego's in full control. The mixture of the two of them is in control, which means he's completely whole, but he doesn't know it. But he assumes that Ed is playing mind games with him. He's basically pulling a symbiote on him. He's pulling it's like Norma taking Norman's body for a joyride about town, then leaving him high and dry the next day. It's pretty much what he thinks is going on here. So he thinks Ed's just kind of getting back at him for stuff, and not the case. So Riddler's just gone mad here. I just love this is one of my favorite things with the Riddler as a character. I love it when the Riddler's he can't solve a riddle, or he's being thrown for a loop by a riddle, and it drives him to the point of madness. Because one of my favorite things in the animated is he's like, I have to know. It's like one of my love when he's just shouting. He's just trying to solve it. And it just pushes him to the brink later on. So this is all he's just trying to solve the riddle right now. What's happening to him?
Yeah. So he's well, first of all, we see a map of different places he's woken up in. He's very just very frantic about the situation, and then he Norman Osborn, Spider-Man 1 style, goes to the mirror and starts talking to himself.
Yep. Yeah, so let's see. Oh, yes. Okay, so following this scene with the Riddler. We use Riddler really sparingly in this episode. He's, I think it's more set up for the stuff we're going to do with him later. It's just they wanted to kind of touch base with him. Because, again, as we saw in the opening, Riddler is one of our big four pillars of what's going to come at the end of the season. So we have to kind of thread the needle on Riddler a little bit.
I really love the fact that shot in particular that we saw of the four of them walking. Yeah, I love that it's essentially the two main heroes and the two main villains that we've had throughout the entire run of the show.
It's a good point. I didn't think, yeah, you're right. That's great. Yeah. So speaking of two heroes, so we have, easily my favorite scene in the whole thing. So, the rooftop scene. Oh boy, I gotta tell you, already they've got me, man. They've got me so. They've already got me emotionally. They got me here. So,
can I just say, Jim Gordon is really good with the branding. If I feel like the Searchlight really adds to his folk hero status, like you were talking. It's a good, it's a good conversation starter about Jim Gordon.
It's great, and again, it ties into the whole light philosophy from the very beginning. We end every show with. I love it. So again, I wish Tiki. I just imagine if I don't know way back when we ever had this conversation. I don't think we did, but I would have loved to think we were smart enough to put it together way back when. That hey, Jim Gordon's talking about light, ipso facto bat signal. I wish I would have put that.
Right.
If I didn't put that together, I just feel a little stupid retroactively. But it was who knew? Who knew? Anyway, seriously, talking about this, so this rooftop scene. One, I love whenever we have a rooftop scene. It's how we ended season 4, and I loved it there. And now I just love that we're having some regular scenes with the rooftop. And I just want. I hope we're gonna go very full circle with this idea, to say the least. Anyway, so of course, the scenes I live for most in Batman are the Batman Gordon scenes on the GCP. So I go for love. Anyway, so we have this great opening line again. Basically, okay, let me talk. Sorry, there's a lot to process here for me. Sorry. Okay, so
take your time. Take your time.
We have this. I love the dialogue, the writing. I love everything about this scene, but the writing feels so classic Batman Gordon and how this conversation goes. And that's the thing I was geeking out about while I was watching the thing. And of course, Mackenzie, the way he's been acting at the start of the season, again, it feels like this scene in particular feels like a very weathered yet hopeful Gordon. So again, he's acting like classic Jim Gordon, and then of course just the staging of it all, like the two of them. Basically, the shot we had before us here, the staging and like how Bruce is over Gordon's shoulder, vice versa. Again, it's perfectly staged. Everything about the scene is perfectly crafted. So the dialogue, as I was referencing, so this is it makes me geek out the start of this here. Bruce as their Batman, of course, the proto Batman here, saying, you can get someone else to turn on the spotlight. And we said this line makes me kind of tear up a little. I like doing it. Yeah. This is just him writing off again what his destiny is going to be, constantly putting this light on, man, constantly working this spotlight. I like doing it. So, so let's see. So, because even in Bruce just again the full circleness of season 1 coming back here, man, just like Bruce echoing
that's right.
Gordon's
Season 1, episode 1 to season 5, episode 1.
Because even in darkness, there's light. Yes, and it reminds me sometimes too. Which it's a good line. Just, again, Gordon needs Gordon. The idea too, what they kind of put into play. I don't give you reading into this. The idea is that maybe Gordon turns on the light because again, the light's a symbol of hope as well. Gordon needs some reminding, as later on he's going to need via Batman. But here, even before Batman, he needs a reminder of like even times are really dark right now. He needs like a sliver of light kind of shine through the darkness and the smog of Gotham to remind him that things aren't all bad. I just love that idea. That's what they're putting forward there. So let's see. So, he fills Bruce in. He shows a lot of trust there. And he's kind of filling Bruce in instead of giving him the run around. Because, again, it's the end times. Why not? Tells him that they're low on supplies. And, Bruce is kind of trying to be problem solver here. He says, tell Lucius to raid the Wayne Enterprises R&D lab. He's working on some night vision goggles for your men. Of course, that's going to come back later gloriously. And Bruce is worried about Selina in the meantime there. Of course, she needs surgery and everything. And we have this bit here, and this is so classic Batman Gordon. This, again, kind of gets me like a little lump in my throat here. It's like, yeah, this is great. Where he walks off, and Gordon poses the question, as Gordon would constantly do. It's like, it sans a bad exit, but still, it's really good. Or as he walks off, it says, Are you sorry you stayed? No. You? Hell no.
Hell no.
Yeah. That's those characters. They're there, they're there during the end times, and Gordon's reminding we're here to protect the people of God. It's a perfect scene, man. It's what I need at the start of this season, man.
I hear you.
Okay, so then we have Mr.
I feel like in terms of like me watching it, I was almost more. It was almost like the Deadpool 1 experience, where as I was watching it, I was like almost more happy for you than enjoying the experience in my own right.
Yeah.
All right.
So the only head scratcher I have in this first episode here, and again, I guess you always have the no man's land excuse of, well, it's the end times, who cares? But the only head scratcher in the next scene we're talking about here, so we have Mr. Penn. Mr. Penn is Penguin's, formerly Penguin's kind of right-hand man, his confidant, his kind of his little bureaucrat guy. For some reason, Mr. Penn's back because Mr. Penn betrayed Penguin last season. Therefore, I'm wondering why he's still around, why he, let alone, is working for Penguin. But again, to me, that's the only head scratcher I have.
Because he's a good character and he has screen presence, and I'll give that a free pass, honestly.
Exactly, that's the thing. And of course, it's an easy no. It's Penguin's turned on so many people in the course of Gotham. Sure, he'd give the
yeah, for sure.
Why not? I mean, that's like Zaz is another story. Like when because Zaz betrayed him in Zaz sent him to prison, so that's going to be a different conversation when Zaz re-enters the fray. But Penn, sure, let's give him a mulligan, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just love saying like that's the one head scratcher. Gotham usually, again, we've had like bigger things that kind of wrap our heads around. But I love that Mr. Penn's like already at the start. He was like, okay, that's a very easy thing to excuse. So that's it's so Mr. Penn is facilitating a trade with the Sirens. He's facilitating a trade, 1,000 rounds for 1,000 pounds of steak.
Oh boy, because we all know Oswald loves a steak, right?
He does. He does. He loves cooking people in the steak too from that one episode. But
Oh God. Oh, I forgot about that.
he
Jeez.
did. He did. Years. Yeah. Of course, he got. Of course, he got his comeuppance though because he had to eat those people pies Professor Pig made last season.
Oh
So
my God.
it's all
The
relative. It's all
people
relative.
pies.
The pies, people pies. Oh God. Anyway, so in essence, here, what's happening is so, Penn wants to make a trade, and he's facilitating this. Importantly, he's facilitating this because, as Tabitha points out, Penguin's been avoiding her. He's been holed up in, in his citadel in the city hall in the mayor's office after the events of season 4, and there's a little refresher there. Which again, that's the only thing you take against the episode. But who cares? Where it's an element of we have to remind people what happened in season 4 here and there, a little on the nose. But again, we need it though. We do. It's the start of season 5. Why not? Where we remind them that Barbara basically reminds them that yeah, this little thing happened where Oswald killed Butch, and Tabitha's still a little sore over that. So a lot of tension there, and of course some tension between Barbara and Babs and Tabs over the Penguin, Tabitha just wants to kill him, like screw him, let's not help him at all, let's kill him if we see him. Where Barbara again wants to keep her head afloat in no man's land. Again, they need bullets if they want to have any power. Bullets equal power. So that's where they are. So they're kind of locking horns a little bit there. And what do you think about Barbara's new look in this season? By the way, because here's a new look each season. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it, Dragon. I really did. To me, I was going to save this comparison for later, but it almost kind of reminds me of like a Zack Snyder design.
I kind of see that. But
the only reason I say that is because there's a very specific shot in this episode that's like straight out of a good Snyder movie.
Right.
And I'll point that out when we get to it.
Sure. I gotta tell you though, and again, this is like it obviously didn't have this plan from the start, but it's just kind of retroactively. It's like I gotta tell you, I think Barbara really works in no man's land. I think she's really cut out for the.
Do you want to quickly recap our odyssey of the Barbara character?
It's the last season. We have maybe some new listeners, so you know what? Sure,
that's what I'm saying, man. It's been a wild ride with Barbara.
You regale them.
Okay, so basically, folks, season 1, Barbara was basically one of the most baffling characters that either of us had ever seen in our television watching lives, Dragon. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say. Yes, that's a fair assessment.
I mean, it was just like every week it turned into a running gag of like, all right, now we have to talk about Barbara. But Dragon, where I don't know about you, but for me personally, like my lifeblood of that season 1 and season 2 podcasting was the Barbara stuff. I mean, that's what really kept me going when season 1 was like kind of like an episodic sort of monster of the week kind of narrative. Each episode I'd look forward to be like, okay, what kind of crazy stuff are they going to do with Barbara this week? So, through and through, Dragon, basically Barbara's redemption, she had a bumpy season 2. She was certainly better than she was in season 1, but there were 1 or 2 episodes that like kind of were worse than anything.
Barbara adjusted in the second half. The first half was very bumpy.
Yeah. But then I would honestly say season 3 onward, she's been a pretty consistent presence.
Yes, I'd agree. Because again, like basically, they went again. We kind of started with kind of the ordinary. Basically, they didn't know how to write just kind of the simple fiance character, and they just kept going back to her.
Yeah. It all started out of like writing a bland, thankless role. That's the thing.
Unfortunately, season 1 they bit off more than they can chew. Again, they were just they were testing out things, seeing what stuck. And when they were doing that, they had like too many characters. They had Crispus Allen, Renee Montoya, and of course and Harvey Dent. And they all went vamoose. Never heard from them again. They're in the coffee shop in the sky right now, as far as we know.
They dribbled the basketball up to the up the second floor room, just like Richie Cunningham's brother.
Yeah, like Chuck. They went the way of Chuck, folks. They did. Yes, they went the way of Chuck Cunningham. Anyway,
And not Chuck McGill. They didn't get an epic 4-season long character arc.
True, but however, they still didn't come back during the holidays like Chuck did on Happy Days. Chuck came back for the holidays. Anyway, God, what was I? Oh yeah, so essentially, they had too many characters, which means then they had like a very conventional character they had no idea what to do with because they were bouncing a lot. Then they got rid of those characters, and the point is, at the end of season 1, they decided to make her crazy, which kind of gave her something. They basically instead of like. I doubt this was the plan from the start because again, it really feels like the first half it's like completely terrible, and then it's still terrible until the end where okay, crazy Babs, and they start going that in season 2, and then they have a really bad episode in season 2. Then after that, she starts to adjust, and in season 3, it's pretty straightforward.
That really bad episode is like the low point, and then after that, she kind of gets resurrected.
That's the thing. She just kind of became like enterprise, like the enterprising club owner Barbers. That's when she turned around. That's when she started to get good. And again, that enterprising club owner in No Man's Land really plays.
For sure.
Barbara, the gangster in No Man's Land, plays a lot better than she ever has before. And again, if that was their plan from the start, which again, like that's I'm talking like infinitesimal Doctor Strange, like the one reality where everything turns out great, sort of thing. Like, that's the only way that happens. But you never know. You never know. So that's what I'm saying. Like I like her look. The hair. I think the look looks a little better than she did last season. It was fine, but even then she was a little bumpy last season. But now I think she's so far on the up and up. So, anyways, all this again. That's basically we're gonna cover all of our Barb's continuity there. So I think all of our Barbara continuity there. Okay. So let's see. So Tabitha, Mr. Penn brought up. And this is important. Mr. Penn brought a bullet as a demonstration. Tabitha loaded the bullet in the gun and says he's going to regret giving you this bullet, which has like a lot of dramatic irony attached to that, to say the least. And Barbara, she raises she's up for the trade, but it's 3,000 rounds for 1,000 pounds of steak now, so that's the personal tax, I guess. Okay. Meanwhile, take us to the next scene.
All right, so we got a couple of guards guarding a barrier, and oh man, this is the scene that kind of was a big fake out from the trailer, right? Because in the trailer we all assumed this was Batman, and it's like nope, it's just Scarecrow.
Yeah. Very Batman-esque start to a scene, though. Again, it kind of feels. Again, it feels almost Arkham game-esque, where you have a scene where again you basically Scarecrow jumps up and surprises you like that. Where again you think it's okay, is it a Batman scene or what? And of course, Scarecrow, boo.
Yeah, so just right in the face, the cop gets it, and then man, I love the this scare tactic on the Scarecrow's part. He's just like, you want it to stop? You want it to stop? Open the gate.
Of course, the cop's scared out of his gourd, so he opens the door, and the other guy gets instantly killed by the scythe. Wow.
Yeah, that was like I said, Dragon, I'm surprised this episode is TV-14 and not TVMA, honestly.
Well, remember, Tiki, it's amazing. Last season ended with Scarecrow with that scythe because it wasn't all in the same shot, but he beheaded a guy and he held up the head.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I don't think he held the head from the front. I think that's the only reason they got away with that, because he didn't decapitate him all in one shot, and he didn't show the head from the front. But again, I guess Walking Dead be an answer to a lot of that. But even then, AMC plays
Walking Dead is a very TVMA show, though.
That's the thing. It kind of plays by AMC rules. It's very different than
yeah.
Anyway, so aside from these changing times, getting back to the other changing times. So, let's see. So, the lights go down at the GCPD as well as the operating room where Selina's having her spine surgery. Thankfully, I was really worried about this because I know the GCPD had like a kind of a next level generator, but I was worried about the hospital. Thankfully, their backup generators kicked in there. So again, thankfully, Selina was in the end, Selina was covered there. But Scarecrow split up his followers to kind of basically steal resources. But I always imagined Crane stealing the medicine to make more fear toxin, make more kind of fear drugs. That was my kind of inference of that. That feels to be kind of classic. But regardless, he's stealing resources, including medicine from the hospital. So The point is like it's kind of an invasion of kind of Scarecrow's followers here. So let's see which one we start with here. So we have oh yes, so um oh yeah, okay, so Bruce.
There's the nun informs Bruce and Alfred that there's people stealing the medicine, and then of course Alfred has you know, a great moment as Bruce walks out. He's just like, "Be careful."
Yeah, this is a year one exchange. It's like all the time in year one, you kind of get in Batman Begins, if you remember it there, where it's kind of like this is like the sort of like, shall I get the bat pot? Should I get the should I get your bat suit, sir? Never in the daytime, Alfred. It's like one of those lines from year one, where here it's like the whole, but you need like a torch or something. You need like a lighter, a light or something. Lucius gave me something better. It's like, yeah, that's a classic Batman Alfred early years of Batman exchange, and I love it.
You need a torch from one of the lamplighters in Mary Poppins Returns. They're vaguely magical. They'll help you out.
Oh god. Anyway,
well, come on, Bruce. We'll help you. We'll help you get home. Chip, pip, pip, cheerio. I'm sorry. I'm on a Mary Poppins high.
I didn't notice. So, okay, so the generators down at the GCP was just there's no proof of this. I hope that Lucius is going to be able to fix this thing because remember, it's one of the big fancy generators that Jeremiah and Wayne Enterprises built. So I hope they get that thing up and running again. I hope that Lucius can repair it because it's down. Scarecrow, like I broke the thing. So then it's Crane versus Gordon here, and we have this great bit in Tiki. This is the charm of no man's land, where I know what you're thinking. Do I really want to risk the bullet? Do I want to waste a bullet on him? And of course, Gordon holsters his weapon because again, those bullets are really precious. And it gets into a fight with him. Grabs like a pole, like a metal pole, and like they're dueling there. We have this great line by the Scarecrow. And Scarecrow's really on point this first episode. It's a small role, but again, this is the danger of no man's land we have through a really scary guy. So again, he serves his role really well this episode.
Well, I think he serves his role in terms of like he's the main factor to kind of let us know what we're in for in terms of the the B League villains kind of taking over territories.
He is, and also again, like we don't want to. I like that we're not rushing to Jeremiah. He's still floating among the. He's in the air. But again, like we definitely hinted some stuff there, but I do love that Scarecrow's kind of we're kind of filling the void until we get to the big meat and potatoes of it all with that,
Mm-hmm.
So we have this great, very Scarecrow line here where it says, "Fear lives in darkness." Like why didn't you just take the generator? Fear lives in darkness. I'm here for your resources, and also while I'm here, I think I'll take your life. And of course, just charges at him with the side. It's a great line. While I'm here, I think I'll take your life too. They get into a fight, and it's been a while since you've tasted my toxin. What are you afraid of now? I love this bit here where he says, "Not you," and he crushes like a pipe or something, and basically lets out really hot steam, and the Scarecrow lets out this screech, and he runs away. And it's a great not about you, because again, Gordon's afraid of a lot more things in no man's land than him. So again, that's great. So his followers get away with the beans. They stole the beans, Tiki.
Not the beans.
The beans. And their last can of hoo-hash. So,
God.
and of course, Bull. And of course, Bull. He didn't help by she shot a couple rounds chasing after him. So that's not helping.
Yeah, I had that in my notes. I was like, not helping Bullock.
They need to learn from the first Deadpool movie. They need to learn to count their bullets during it. Especially now. All right, so let's see. So then we have okay, so the flip side. So
this scene, man.
I love how we keep jumping back between Gordon's side of things and Bruce's side of things with kind of our stories here. So I love that. I just love how they're interconnected. Again, from that rooftop scene to all the other subsequent scenes in the episode. So we have a classic Batman scene here with our proto Batman. He's taking out the followers in darkness.
This is like Batman 89, Batman Begins level crap here, Dragon. It really is.
To make the episode's title relevant, so this is like all sorts of stuff we see in the 0-year comic, like stuff right there. And honestly, Bruce's outfit for the majority, I love that he's wearing like the all leather outfit, but pretty much like kind of like a leather jacket sort of thing. And for a lot of 0-year, he wore stuff like that while he was kind of a vigilante, kind of proto Batman, like basically just kind of Bruce Wayne walking around, and other times like wearing flesh mask and stuff, just wearing disguising himself. This is pretty much what he would wear, and of course now we're kind of getting him slowly there with now he has night vision goggles and operating in darkness, taking out people like Batman would. It's a really great scene. You're right though; it feels very 89-esque in how it's executed. Though it's great. He's taking them out, and again they don't know what's coming. And of course, and this is the zero year of it all right here. This is a very zero year moment. If not, if you want to stretch it, bit of Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, God.
Little bit because he's not there. Basically, one of those setbacks like we had in the flashbacks in Mask of the Phantasm, and as well as the setbacks we have in Zero Year, where the lights come back on. The light of the hospital's generator comes back on for the rest of the place in the basement. Lights come back on. Of course, folks, little science lesson here for you. If you wear night vision goggles and have blaring lights, really bright lights around you, take them off immediately because you could go blind. It's like a really bright, intense, blinding light that's intensified with the night vision goggles. So Bruce is blinded for a bit there and in pain, and they all run away from the mystery guy just delivering him a heck of a beating, and they all run away, and unfortunately they got away with the medicine, which is not good.
Yeah, and to me, I love this scene because it's a great, like, he already kind of has the game plan down in terms of how he wants to approach Batman, the stealth and theatricality of it all. But he's not quite there yet. He doesn't have the execution down.
Exactly. He's missing the final bits of finesse, as well as, again, like the big lesson of Phantasm that's also incorporated in the Zero Year a little bit, but again, Phantasm. They weren't afraid of me. That's the ever-present lesson. He kind of got him afraid of him here, but again, he needs that symbol. He needs that thing. Like when the lights go on, he needs to be able to still scare the crap out of him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. That's what he has the tactics. He has the tactics and that theatricality. He still needs like the symbol. He needs that's the whole goal of the season is he needs that symbol. All right. Let's see. Following that, things are bad at the GCPD. They're down to, because of what was stolen, they're down to a week of food, which means they have to go from half of their rations to another, to basically half of their rations for everybody, which is sure to cause an upset. They're not going to be happy with that. And of course, Harvey has this great line here. Says, "I haven't been happy in 10 years. They'll live." Look with the one-liners. Always, Bullock's never disappointed us with a one-liner.
I know, that's the thing. That's the thing I love is that, like, even though this episode and this season is like a big game-changing, like, status quo breaker in terms of Gotham, man, Bullock is the same old one-liner machine that he's always been, and I love it.
So as they're figuring out what to do, Bruce Wayne, he shows up and he tells them that help's on the way, that he arranged for a helicopter to make a supply drop. Now they've tried this before because they've tried doing it through the official channels, and of course the government keeps shutting them down, saying no. But thankfully, again, a little bit of Batman here, and again, basically kind of the cell line of like the relationship between Batman and the GCPD and kind of the whole system as a whole. He's not asking for permission, which again is like how Batman will operate. So Bruce is kind of putting that into play here. It's I'm not asking permission. Alfred's got it all arranged, like he called it in. So basically, a Wayne Enterprise helicopter from like the subsidiaries outside of Gotham of Wayne Enterprise is going to drop a payload, and they'll basically go to it. Which it's cool.
Man, it's nice to have a billionaire around.
I love how Bullock has nothing but complimentary things to say about Bruce Wayne this episode. It's a little thing I noticed. Like, man, Bullock's awfully complimentary this episode.
Well, that's a fun, of course, given the future Bullock Batman dynamic.
I know.
Yeah.
So funny. All right, let's see. So, so I like that Gordon sees kind of the desperation on Bruce here. Again, they need medicine because people are in pain. So he kind of has inferred that, he's worried about Selina, and I love that. I love that David Mazouz. He's always impresses. He's impressive since day one on the show, and I love that he keeps getting better and better. And I love how he plays introspection because we have so many scenes in this episode, Tiki, especially with Selina. Bruce isn't saying anything, and again, you can just see, like, you can read he feels like Batman in those scenes where you don't need to know what he's saying. It's just see what he's thinking. You can see the guilt on his face and like how he blames himself. Like that's that character. And just the David Mazouz, quite possibly. And again, I don't know. There are a lot of great Batman actors. Don't be wrong, but again, Mazouz, he's up there with one of the best Batman actors. He really is. If you really think about it.
Man, wow, that's That's a
I
high
mean,
from you.
Look, don't get me wrong. I think we've always kind of circled around that because it was basically the only thing that kind of negates him from that is the fact that he hasn't put on the bat suit. But I mean, as an actor who's portrayed Bruce Wayne, he's done an excellent job, and really can't take that away from him. And it's like him and Christian Bale are probably at the top of that Batman actors ranking, especially at least on the Bruce Wayne side of things. They've been excellent in that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, seriously, we want to give props to the Mizzous. Again, it's the last season. We want to make sure we get our digs in for everybody.
Of course, of course.
Okay, so let's see. So Gordon's like, yeah, she'll pull through anyway. So we getting back to that scene. So Bruce visits Selina. You want to take us through this heartbreaking scene?
Oh, do I have to, Dragon? My God.
It's not the later one. It's like the one in the middle. This is so heartbreaking though.
Oh God, it's honestly, this might be even harder to talk about, to tell you the truth.
All right, well, I'll start it off then.
So the last one is just like more shocking than anything else. This is just depressing.
So Selina, again, classic Selina here. She's just saying, she's kind of shrugging it off with a laugh here, saying, "Well, the surgery was a success. My spine's not going to turn into jelly, but I still can't walk, so that's a bummer." Bruce is holding out hope that they're going to be getting the medicine to help to make her feel better. Basically, on the whole, he's hoping they're going to get her to the mainland as soon as they can. They kind of maybe get her to walk again, but also get medicine to her in the meantime. So, yeah, Bruce is being very proactive here, trying to help. But at the same time, though, Selina, she really lays on the guilt thick in a big way.
I got it word for word, if you don't mind.
Sure. What's Selina's response, Tiki?
Okay, so Jeremiah shot me to get to you. After all the things that I did, after all the things I've done, what did me in was being your friend. I'm sorry, I'm just taking pause because it's like we get all this melodramatic, like, with both Bruce and Selina.
And you see like how crestfallen Bruce is.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Bruce, and then she has the line.
Oh man, the line, Jesus. This is what really shocked me, Dragon. This is what makes this hard to talk about. It's just like, I just wish Jeremiah killed me. And what's haunting about that, Dragon, is she's not even melodramatic about it. She's very matter of fact. She almost downplays it.
But Tiki, again, it makes sense with that character. Selina Kyle, the Catwoman character as a whole, she lives for being able to kind of be acrobatic on the rooftops and steal things, and just kind of be a free spirit amongst Gotham, and be kind of the fun, playful, dynamic, all of that stuff. And if she can't do that, she's got no reason for living in her in her mind. She can't be active. She can't be the free spirit that she is. Life's not worth living. And again, pairing that with again putting it up on Bruce here. I mean, again, she's in a bad state, and again, it's the fascinating thing here. Like it's the old Batman getting close to somebody idea. It's like if he gets close to her, she's not wrong, is what I'm saying. She's not entirely wrong because again, she was targeted because of the whole Bruce Wayne Jeremiah thing of it all, and that's the thing. She's just in a really bad state. This is how you do. And I'm not saying like this. It's a very different circumstance. It's sort of like it's sort of like the Killing Joke thing. If you wanted to, they tried doing the whole Killing Joke anime movie. They tried doing the whole Batgirl Batman romance at a very inopportune time in that story. Which again, or if you want to do that story, that's one thing, but you don't do it during Killing Joke, which raises a lot of ethical problems. And looking at it that way, this is how you kind of circumvent that, but you have a character that Bruce actually has feelings for and romantic interest in with someone not related to his friend. Works a lot better. And but that's the thing. And Bruce, again, he blames himself, and again, she's letting him blame himself, and your heart goes out to him. And that's the thing, like the idea of like someone that Batman has saved. Batman saved him again. He kind of helped her in some regard. Wishes that he hadn't saved her. I mean, how poetically sad is that?
In the immortal words of Norma Banks, Dragon.
Norma Bates. It's so sad. I think you spliced two excellent movies together there. All right. So then they have this really odd nurse. This nurse kind of weirded me out. This really strange nurse just tells Bruce on his way she's in the hospital. She needs the witch.
Yeah, this was like almost. This very much reminded me of like a James Wan horror movie. Dragon. It's just like, hey, I'm a creepy nun, and I'm telling you to go see a creepy witch within the extended horror universe.
Now I'm pretty sure I know who the witch is, but I'm going to save that for spec. We'll get
All
there when
right.
we get there. Okay, so then meanwhile, Bullock establishes that the folks love Saint Jim. I love he's calling him Saint Jim. Or, it's just kind of funny. The whole Saint James of it all is kind of funny. So Bullock establishes, the folks at the GCP they love Saint Jim, but it's definitely going to change if that helicopter payload doesn't make it to him. Meanwhile, so basically that's kind of the stakes are set up there. Meanwhile, Penguin has it. I love this, man. It's a shame this. I looks like we're gonna have this towards the finale. I think we're gonna get this by the 391 day mark. But still, I mean, it's a shame because I thought it was really cool. Penguin now has a functional leg brace.
Mhm.
The one, this is cool to me. I thought it's like an Easter egg to Dark Knight Rises with the whole leg brace thing. That's what I thought it was. I don't necessarily think that's off either, but regardless, I just love the design of this thing. I love the idea that the Penguin doesn't have to have an umbrella or a cane anymore. You can just kind of walk around with this leather kind of leg brace that also holds a knife, and that was a cool idea. It looks great, and of course, again, a bit of like a little barb it rises, especially what happens in this episode. It's kind of like that didn't help at all. Well,
Sure.
it helped. It helped, but it's still like the minute we get it, like you don't get it anymore. It's kind of anyway.
All right. So oh my God, I love this scene between Penn and Penguin. You see, this is exactly why they kept Penn around, Dragon. This scene right here. So,
Yeah,
so Penn's basically taking Penguin through the conditions in the factory and saying like literally a man died of starvation, right?
well, basically, I think it was people who are feeling fatigued on the job from not eating, and they fell into the machinery, causing an accident. Therefore, he died.
Hmm. And then Penguin, he's in the middle of eating this might I point out this very nice looking steak.
Yeah, it looks great, man. Yeah, I'm not really a steak guy either. I got to tell you,
Oh, I am a steak guy, Dragon. I am a steak guy. It looks pretty good.
it's a it's a nicely prepared meal
Don't get me
too.
wrong, it's not like a 5-star steakhouse, like 5-star fine dining steakhouse steak, but it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah. So like as Penn's talking about like workers being underfed and these things go wrong, you're like as he's saying they're underfed. And this is a classic Penguin, like the opulent kind of corpulent kind of fat Penguin. Like he's like Penguin on his way to being a fat guy in the future. That's kind of what they're hinting at here a little bit. As Barbara, I think a line alluded to that earlier on too, where he's eating, he's cutting the steak, he takes a bite, and what does he say?
I feel for the workers, but I cannot give them what I do not have.
Of course, he just complete
As a
irony.
signature, like as a punctuation, he just takes a bite that's accompanied by a sound effect.
He spits it out, like puts it on the plate. He says, "Overcooked." So then he gives it to. Apparently, now we reveal this. Penguin has a little dog. Penguin's got a little dog that he is named.
Edward.
I wonder wherever he got that name from. So I love that Penguin. He's always got a fondness for the Riddler, but also likes taking shots at him too. That's kind of where their dynamic is now, and he's just naming the dog after him. That's funny. It's kind of sweet, but at the same time, it's like yeah, it's just kind of it's a tribute, but it's also like a pointed tribute. That's kind of what it is.
Mhm.
All right, so
So Penn's pointing out that the accuracy rate, guns have been malfunctioning basically,
they're
and
worried about quantity over quality, which has created a big quality control problem, as Penguin demonstrates by firing his gun. That a lot of bullets are misfiring. Like the second shot that he takes to prove a point, misfires in his hand, like ouch, It's these. I love how this comes. I
Dragon,
love it.
this is like a really subtle bit of role building. Like I like that sets the groundwork and fire at any time.
So what was that last part?
I don't know. I just think there's some tension in that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a great device that we use later on too with the misfires. And more on that later.
Yeah, yeah.
It perfectly paid off, I think. So all right, so then he stops Mr. Penn from kind of bringing up all the stuff, and he says, "Okay, well, shh," because he and as well as the sirens on the flip side of things arguing about working with Penguin. A little bit of a recap on what happened to Butch, but importantly, how Tabitha. We have to strike this point because we have to kind of feel something for what's about to happen here. So Tabitha, she reminds that she does blame herself for what happened to Butch because she killed Penguin's mom, therefore Penguin sought revenge, so that is on her. So, because again, Penguin had a great elaborate revenge plan in season 4. I still love it so much that he cured Butch. He went through all this to cure Butch, just to kill him in front of Tabitha. It's so twisted. That's the thing. Well, more on that later. Anyway, so the point is, while all this conversation is going on, both sides hear a helicopter. They hear the helicopter. So Bruce and Jim, they spot the helicopter. They're coaxing it into the landing. But as they're coaxing it,
oh my God! Look, it's the helicopter carrying Rick Grimes.
God. Was there a helicopter on The Walking Dead?
What?
There were helicopters on The Walking Dead.
Well, that's the thing, Dragon. That's the big cliffhanger that the current mid-season finale, like, instead of killing Rick Grimes, like we all promised, they literally just carried him away on a helicopter.
A little random, but I never imagined
trilogy.
It's out of the blue
for the Rick Grimes trilogy, Dragon.
I'm all Twitter. but T, I gotta tell you, I'm not again this weird kind of Walking Dead point. It didn't really seem like a helicopter show to me.
Well, actually, yeah. I mean, it's really not.
I never foresaw helicopter and Walking Dead in the same sentence. I gotta be frank.
It's like there's tanks in The Walking Dead. Those are kind of.
All right. Anyway,
not.
You don't really think of. You never think of flying with zombies and things. I don't know.
Well, I mean, hey, man, Fear the Walking Dead season 2 was set on a boat, so anything's possible.
Well, that's a boat, though. It's different. There's land and sea versus. Anyway. Then again, Preacher has vampires and planes, so I guess I shouldn't complain. Anyway. So, what was I going? Oh yeah, so again, the helicopter gets blown out of the sky, goes down. Like someone used a rocket launcher or something on, goes down. And I love this because the minute the helicopter went there, I knew what was going to happen. Like, okay, it's going to be a rush to the supplies now. They got it. So, they're rushing to the supplies. Let's see. So,
can I just point out? It's kind of haunting, like almost, dare I say, Mr. Robot-esque, how they don't make a big deal out of who fired the rocket launcher. It's just sort of like a day-to-day thing that happens. Like, it's like they're not even really that surprised about it. It's like, yeah, of course that would happen. All right, let's get a team together.
True. You're not wrong. It is kind of like they're not really stunned by the rocket launcher. But here's the thing, though. I do like there is a bit of a mystery element, which I'm pretty sure I think I know where they're going with that mystery element.
Okay.
So, so Jim leaves for the surplus. He's Alfred. He's asking Alfred, "Hey, where's Bruce?" I imagine he'd want to tag along. He always wants to tag along. Where is he? Beats me. So just okay, Alfred. Just keep an eye on things, would you? And of course, they're low on bullets.
Golly gee willikers, Clark. Why do you always disappear when Superman shows up?
Is getting coffee with Bruce Wayne and talking about movies and stuff. That's how that goes. Anyway. So the Low Boys. So we did see a few sections of gangs in Gotham on the map. A few blink and you miss. I think the Street Demons are there. I'm pretty sure the Street Demons are the Schumacher guys. By the way, we'll see how that goes.
Oh, the Schumacher guys. Okay, I'm excited to see them.
I think they're the Street because the Street Demons. I think were No Man's Land. I think that's what they're going with. I don't. We'll see how it goes when it gets there. Anyway, so I have a different gang here, but the Low Boys. Just kind of generic, like hey gang. So the Low Boys.
Hey, we're the Low Boys.
The Low Boys. So the Low Boys.
We all talk like this, sir.
No, they all have low voices. That's why they're called the Low Boys. We all had low voices ever since we were boys. Therefore, we're the Low Boys. Either they're the big low.
They're all Ravenscroft.
Either that, or they're all fans of Lobo, the DC Comics character. We love Lobo. We love him. Anyway, back on point here. So the Low Boys, they get to the supply until Penguin arrives. The Penguin arrives, and basically a bit of a turf war, again, kind of the turf war element of No Man's Land presents itself. We have this great bit in this classic Penguin. He's just like, okay, well, just raises his hand in the air, and they're all just taken out immediately, and I love that. It just shows you the danger of No Man's Land. Anyone could be taken out at any minute, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So as that happens, the GCPD are not far behind. Which, by the way, I love kind of the war-ready police cruisers now. Now they have like gates and stuff welded to the windshield, so if the windshields get shot out, they have coverage. Fun fact. So yeah, so here's an interaction. I always love these guys interacting. You got Gordon and the Penguin interacting, of course, like, Jim, good to see you, old friend. Yeah. Sorry, do you want to take us through some of this?
Sorry, I'm a little lost on my notes. Just kind of cue me up here.
All right, so the GCPD arrive, and it's kind of Jim and the Penguin having their interaction here.
Mm-hmm.
So they have their little conversation here, and they reveal that. And here's where we touch on the mystery element of all, where Jim's asking Penguin, like, you shot down the shipment. Says, no, Jim, I didn't shoot down the shipment. And basically, it's a little bit of a mystery, like who exactly did. And as this conversation's going on, this is cool. I was geeking out there, and it's like Bruce Wayne's he's entering, and very zero year-esque. He's kind of entering the fray like as a proto Batman. Here he's kind of sneaking in back, overseeing the scene, like, oh God, he's doing it. He's doing the Batman thing. So basically, and then we have this great point that the Penguin makes, like, look, Jim, if it was me, wouldn't I just admit it? It's not like anyone's going to arrest me. And again, like Jim kind of facing, again, the thing he's been courting ever since the beginning. Everything the Penguin does is on him, and now the Penguin's just kind of flaunting his face in front of like law and order, like, guys, you can't even arrest me. Look at how much in shambles things are now. You guys can't stop me. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't arrest me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, like basically, the Penguin points out, okay, guys, look, I'm in a good mood. Why don't you get out of here? And of course, like, Harvey, don't make me kill you. After all we've been through, don't make me kill you. So as this little conversation plays out, what shocking thing happens in the background? Like, what's happening? What interrupts this?
I'm sorry. I believe this is where Tabitha comes in.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, just want to make sure.
The crossbows galore, bang, bang, bang. A lot of henchmen are taken out.
Yeah, so this is where we get the moment in the trailer where Oswald with the knife to his throat is just like, I know you're mad about Butch.
No, you're upset about Butch. It's kind of a high Morris delivery on that one. It's like, well, I guess we'll just sit here then. But yeah, so
you know that since she killed his mother, Butch's blood is on her hands.
Yep, and again, like, I love that she's threatening him with the gun. Again, that one bullet. She's waiting to use that one bullet on. Very poetic and everything. Killed the Penguin by his own bullet, and says, I killed Butch, but you pulled the trigger. Again, kind of getting like last words in her. Before that, he tries getting a plea for Gordon for help there. He says, I provide stability, which again, there's the full circle element of the pilot right there. It's like, I provide stability, like begging Gordon to help him, but Gordon's not quite getting there in time right now. So right as Tabitha pulls the trigger, what happens?
Instead of the gun malfunctions.
Misfire, and it's great, and the Penguin's just laughing his head off.
Pulls out a knife.
It pulls out the knife from the leg brace, and all of that paid off. Yeah,
Check off knife.
Yep, I'm gonna have a word with my if that was one of my bullets, I'm gonna have a word with my foreman. Say hello to Butch for me, and then he kills Tabitha. Again, she survived a lot longer than I thought she would, but. I think what do you think? I think it's kind of a well-earned death. What do you think?
Yeah, I do, Dragon. I think this was a perfect choice of character death in the first season because it's definitely going to have personal stakes for Barbara going forward. It kind of elevates the Barbara versus Penguin dynamic, and at the same time, obviously Tabitha, she was a legacy character on the show because she's been around since season 2. And you're right, she did last a lot longer and was more relevant than I think a lot of people were expecting her to be as just, Theo Galavan's sister.
Yeah, she did improve over time. The whole Tigress element, the mentor to Selena, she paid off.
Uh-huh. And more importantly, I think it's a good, outside of like the main four and probably, in all likelihood, Bruce Wayne. Um, Basically anyone could go. This is unexplored territory.
Yeah. So, of course, Barbara, again, like, as she's stabbed and she falls, you hear this guttural, I think that this was shot, this guttural scream, like,
This is the
ah!
300 moment I'm talking about, Dragon. This is good Zack Snyder.
You're right, you're right. It's good. Rarely do we say good Zack Snyder when we
I know,
talk
I
about.
know. Yeah, it's like no longer do we have to classify. No, it's Scott Snyder that we're talking about. No, it's like it's Zack Snyder, and I'm giving him a compliment.
New York Snyder's the
But
good
it
one.
happens.
You got New York Snyder and you got LA Snyder. New York's the good one. So she's just far basically have like a taste of crazy Babs. It's just like, I love it. Basically, Barbara, I think when done right, she's she's a gangster with that crazy side at her core, and that kind of comes out like moments like this. She's just firing wild, just like going crazy. Oh, crazy Babs again. So she's firing wildly, which leads to a big old firefight. And unfortunately, the GCP run out of ammo, and then we have this great bit. Guys, I just love the rivalry in the history. I always love the rivalry in the history between Penguin and Gordon here. We're just like, "Hey Jim, sound kind of quiet over there." It's like just poking Gordons and buttons in the middle of a firefight. That's great. So Bullock's asking, "What do we do now?" So again, they're out of ammo. Thankfully, on the outside, Bruce has as a solution here where he knocks out a couple of Penguin's goons. And essentially, I mean, for all intents and purposes, these ammo trucks as well are going to be all added to the GCPD's resources because Brucey steals ammunition from the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara is shot in the arm, and at Penguin's mercy now, Bruce appears, says, "I know I shouldn't be here," but he brought ammo. Bullock has a great line. "Kid, I could kiss you right now." So then Penguin's trying to. I love, and again, this is what makes the Penguin a really interesting character, especially the Gotham Penguin here, where he says, "Look, I love that he's trying to legitimately move past this with Barbara. Look, can we move past this? Can we just kind of close the Butch and Tabitha chapter in our lives? Can't we just? Is there any way we can move forward from this?" And it's a no-go. She's going to feed your guts to the rats.
Dragon, this is can I just point out this is the new I'm gonna kill him with my bare hands and my teeth.
True, and it's at least a lot more tangibly possible than Fish Movies. All right. So then we have this really great. I love it. There's a great scene here. I was shocked by the payoff. I thought it was a good payoff. But anyway, so we have Jim here. Clever. Jim has a clever plan. I love how clever this plan is here. So Jim says he wants to make a deal, a 50-50 split of whatever's in the helicopter, and Barbara lives. And essentially, he tries to bluff with Penguin. Basically, he tries to bluff with Penguin with this bit of like, if you kill the last of the GCP, I'm sure the government's not going to look kindly on that. Of course, Penguin knows he's bluffing, and Gordon has nothing to bargain with, so it's no deal. And logically, it's going to be a no deal because the GCP, as we, the audience, have seen, they got nothing. Thankfully, we, the audience, also know that Gordon does have something up his sleeve with the ammunition now. So I just love the tension in this thing. Oh, boy, this is going to be good. So Penguin cockily, he walks up to him, making his point here. He says, "Okay, how's this sound? You'll get nothing and reflect on this and reflect on my generosity later for letting you live and get nothing. So, and besides, you're out of ammo." And then we have the great reveal. And Tiki, I love this reveal so much, where Gordon shoots Penguin right in the leg, right in his bad leg, the one that just got fixed and just got the nice fancy brace and everything. Just as Gordon says, like, "Not anymore." Bam! Right in the leg. And it's, oh my God, this is like a moment. It's like, oh yeah, we're taking it way back to season 1 when Penguin got his leg injury in the first. Wow, this is great.
And of course, Reagan, I love this kind of back and forth dynamic we have with the cold open. It's like, all these different alliances are being pushed and pulled in different directions. And we just have to wonder, it's like, our appetite has been set. It's like, all right, we know what the eventual outcome is going to be and that these characters are eventually going to align, but how is that going to happen?
Exactly. Three of them are in very different places. Enigma's out of sorts. Penguin, he really hates Gordon. You know? And Gordon working with him in the first place. Again, they're like, that's three things right there. So then of course Gordon says, "Oh, I was never going to make that deal. We need all the supplies. Load up."
Nice, nice.
Cool. All right, so Bullock later on. Now, again, this is where we get into the really great, prolific question of No Man's Land that Gordon's really contending with in that story, and I love that they brought it here into the season. So Bullock's, I don't know how far they're going to go with it, but we'll see. So Bullock points, they've returned to the GCPD with the resources. Bullock's asking Jim the big question here. You think Penguin will pull through? He's like a cockroach, probably. So he's asking why didn't you just kill him on the spot there? Why didn't you just kill him? He says, well, 3 months ago, I would have been in trouble for pulling what I pulled there. He says, well, Bullock essentially is the Bullock man here. Bullock essentially puts into perspective that you can't think like Law and Order anymore. We're for survival now. You win or die. So next time you shoot to kill. And that's the conflict of No Man's Land right there. The conflict of No Man's Land for Gordon specifically is, if it's the end times, what's the point in trying to pretend like we could arrest people or in just calling yourselves a police instead of a militia, instead of a military? Mm-hmm. Why bother? Because Gordon's fighting for the hope that we can get back to being a civil city. Basically, get the government kind of fixing things and the bridges being reconstructed as kind of being a functional city again, which is why he's clinging on to law and order and the kind of the ideals that he's always been kind of trying to hold up since the beginning. And that's the challenge again. Like, is it a war, or is it like, are we trying to save our home versus just a war for utter survival and just lose ourselves in all this thing? And that's the battle right there. So we're putting that in the play here, and we'll see where they go with it. Meanwhile, Bruce is heading to the clinic, and we have this beautiful Coke and a smile moment here where Tiki, this thing really is like
another moment where I was just like, oh, I bet Dragon's heart just melted at this.
This is like one of those, and some people, like, I'm sure you're more critical guys, will say, oh, this is just like them doing like a prequel gag. And of course, Gotham's comprised of a lot of prequel-y moments because it's a prequel show. What do you expect?
Anakin Skywalker meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's what I'm saying. For anyone who has all the prequel grudge, look. I mean, like, Better Call Saul is obviously the mecca of what you want to do when you do that premise, obviously. But still, I mean, come on. There's still it's in the fun of it all. You want to do these moments, and then you have the emotion built into it, so it's nice. It's a lot better than some other kind of prequel gags you can have. So this is great. Where Jim says to Bruce, and this is like a 5-season down the line bit here, where he says, "Bruce, next time you want to help, just ask. You've earned your place here." And it's just the idea of, like, of course, years later, is this, well, maybe not even years later, a few years from now, he's going to be asking for help, and of course, accepting Batman's help years. That's going to be great. So we have, and I know someone in the comment section is looking really forward to this section of everything here. So a familiar face, or lack thereof, appears. Echo. We see our proto Harley Quinn, Echo, appear, and she sneaks into the GCPD. She sees the map, and of course, I like the map as kind of a symbol of hope and just kind of, again, a big symbol of No Man's Land, very important. She sees the map, and she hears the radio kind of chiming in. Somebody's trying to call Gordon, and of course, Gordon hears this, so he's making his way up. So it's a really tense staging of events here, because you don't know if Gordon's going to see Echo or not, and of course, Echo, a very dangerous agent, to say the least. Mm-hmm. So she again, like, here's a question, like, what's going to happen there anyway. So she kind of pulls a bad exit. She disappears, but she did something really memorable in this scene, unbeknownst to Gordon here. Gordon, he answers the radio, and we have this mystery person from across the river who says, you're not alone. We're working on something with the government to help you. And again, not answering him back makes me think this might be a kind of a setup. So I'm not sure. But again, it's the idea of there is some, I like that they're not tipping their hat too much. It doesn't sound too sinister, but at the same time, it might be the government. You don't know. We don't know. But then we have the visual, one of the great visuals.
Like a ha 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 smiley face with eyes and everything. The Joker symbol with the ha 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 written as the smiley face. It's a very iconic kind of symbol, and it's like, oh boy, okay, the groundwork is definitely being laid.
Oh yeah, and so that's a biggie. And the symbol of kind of our basically the proto Joker symbol. Mm. Great. All right, so let's see. So that's definitely given Gordon, again, like, it's always one step forward, 2 steps back for Gordon and the GCP. It's like, hey, we saved the day, we got the supplies, and Jeremiah's coming back. Well, that's just great. Yeah, that's just My week's complete right now, boys. Let's grab some donuts and grab some cyanide while we're at. Let's just Anyway, so let's see. So after that, Riddler wakes up in a dumpster, which he's not happy with.
Well, he just like yells at a homeless guy, like, "Get out of here!"
Then he's going back and he's just tossing the map aside. Like, what's the point anymore? He's just angry, shouting in the mirror, very Norman Osborn style, saying, "What are you doing to me?" So he's just very angry. He has no idea what's going on. The riddle he can't solve obviously would drive him mad and make him very angry. Briefly, we see Barbara. She's mourning Tabitha. Initially, very stokely, very quietly, and then we have this really great edit. By the way, I love that they kind of laid the audio on top of each other. I love this. Remember what she says?
She says, hold on, let me try and find it.
Shouts at like the top of her lungs here, and it's a great transition.
You tell him.
Okay. I'm sorry?
You tell him.
Okay, well, essentially, she's something along the lines of, I want she says she wants Penguin Dead. I want Penguin Dead. It's the last thing I do. I want that peaky little freak dead. Of course, as she's screaming this, we cut to Penguin screaming in pain. I love that when she screams, it looked like she just sounded so much like Robin Lord Taylor, and then we reveal, okay, we are going to love Robin Lord Taylor. So Penguin, he's very upset. This is a great Penguin on one leg, the bad leg. He's having it operating, and I assume he doesn't have much medicine over there. By the way, I imagine he's doing this without morphine or a painkiller or anything. Like he might have.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just very much done like it feels like it's done on the fly, like blood spraying everywhere.
And the little thing I read into this is that it just kind of rubs the dirt, or I guess the scalpel in the wound even more so here, because it's like, hey, remember you failed? If you succeeded, you would have had medicine during this.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of thing. Anyway, so Penguin's upset, he's just screaming his lungs off, and of course, he looks like animalistic Penguin, which is always like when Penguin freaks out in Gotham, he looks very animalistic, which is kind of the closest thing it gets to Batman Returns at times.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just he shot me in the leg. I just fixed it. just look, they did just. That's great. So he says 100,000 rounds of ammunition for whoever kills Jim Gordon. I want his head. Of course, the doctor pulls the bullet out, and just like, oh god, it's. Meanwhile, again, it's justice, folks. It's what can you do? Anyway, so Selina, oh boy, everybody take us to this one.
Oh man! All right. So a nurse walks in, leaves a cart by Selina's bedside, and there's a razor blade just conveniently there. Scalpel, right. Sorry, just conveniently there for her to see, and we see her linger on it, and then throw herself out of bed. And thank God the camera cuts away, Dragon, because I could not handle another 13 Reasons Why season 1 finale shot.
True. So that's, and here's the bitter irony that I kind of took away from this. Again, you see medicine on the cart, so I assume like that nurse is going to give her something to ease her pain. And again, the idea that even though it's there, it's like right there, and she can see it very clearly. She's not aiming for it, man. That's the thing. That to me is the darker thing about the scene, is the fact that Bruce succeeded and he brought her some salvation, and and she doesn't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So Bruce, he kind of hears like her screaming and flopping around. He kind of helps her in the bed and helps restrain her, and she's just completely lost. He kind of puts together what's happening in the scene. I said, "What?" She said, "You should let me do it." And he says, "Let her do what?" And of course, they fill him out, and she tried to kill herself with the scalpel. And then again, poor Brave, this poor kid, man. It's just going to get worse for this kid in the future. It's just like he's going to be so many horrific things we're going to have. But then Tiki, this is like the moment. This is the big Batman scene. I know the early rooftop scene, the instant go to. This is like kind of a solo Bruce, like an introspective Batman scene here, where that creepy nurse, that oddball nurse, kind of wanders in and says, "I told you she needs the witch." And then here's the Batman line. He's going to process it, he internalizes like his blame and guilt over all this. And he says, "Okay, I'm going to be proactive and seek a solution here." Where he says, "Where do I find this witch?" Like, yeah, it's very Batman. Like, yeah. Meanwhile, Bullock said, "Hey, St. James of Gotham, yeah." So we have kind of that is a really great scene. I love this in the trailer, so I love this kind of scene playing out here. He's telling Bullock to be on the lookout for Jeremiah Valeska, that clown. We'll nod to, of course, where we're going with this season, hopefully with it. That clown, Jeremiah Valeska. They have they got six. Lucius walks in. He tells them they got 6 weeks of food, which is better than they were. He says, well, that's 6 weeks of food. It's not enough. And Gordon, being optimistic here, says, it's better than often where we were. So Gordon's a little happy-go-lucky here comparatively. And it says, we're not gonna give up hope. And then we have this really great aspiring. Well, it happens momentarily. So as Gordon's getting a little triumphant here, then something bad happens. Of course, so that's how it goes. Something nice happens, and something bad happens. Kid wanders in. Kid walks in, and he finds Jim Gordon because he has a message for him. And the idea is this kid. He's as a guy exposits. The kid braved at least a half dozen sectors, basically a half dozen territories and sections of no man's land to get to the GCPD because his brothers and sisters are being killed whichever territory he hails from.
Mm-hmm.
And then he passes out, so they're taking him to the clinic, taking him to the medic. So then we have this great aspiring. And this is the scene I was talking about in the trailers here. So this is we have this great GCPD shot of the GCPD all gathered around Gordon. We have this really great speech here, and the big payoff to the whole we're on our own scene here, where they all. Jim has this great speech here where he says, "You've all asked, what are we doing here when our government isn't? Simple. We're supposed to be giving people hope. Hope that if someone's in danger, someone will come. We will come. Suit up." It's like, that's all you need. That's all you need right there.
Yep. Those two words right there. It's like, okay, the show's back, baby. Ben McKenzie's in top form. All right.
Yeah, okay, so I guess get on to the promo.
Okay, promo. Well, first of all, it's a this season on, right?
Yeah, it's a this season on, yeah. So it's kind of an overview of what's going on there. So, promo's to kind of highlight a few shots here. We see Jeremiah looking very Tom King Batman-like. Just kind of it looks great. Jeremiah saying, "Today's the big day." Just really creepy looking. Let's see. So things are changing in Gotham. We see a glimpse of Bane saying a new world is coming, and we see our Schumacher thugs. Let's see. We have Penguin versus Gordon here, and they have this really great delivery by Robin Lord Taylor, who's just kind of leaning in saying, "Gotham is mine now," and Jim just shoving him across the room. It's a really great tense bit there. Alfred provides some advice to Bruce here, saying, "You're not." I think he says something along the lines of, "You're not the same, and you've got to learn to respect that." That's a good line. Good Alfred. Mm. We have Jim and Barbara in that pose of suggests maybe some romantic things in the heat of war. I don't know. We see kind of our some more Echo proto Harley Quinn stuff. Her in more of a Harley Quinn looking, progressively more Harley Quinn looking outfit. Riddler's talking to Penguin saying, "You broke me. You broke me." Jim's running down. There's a great shot of Jim running down an alley, and of course, you have nowhere to run, Jim. Bane's walking through some fire. Bruce is trying to save Selina. We have, of course, a little tease at the episode I'm most excited for, assuming it's the same episode. Bruce Bruce facing off against Jeremiah, and then we have the thing that Tiki, out of as much as I love that rooftop scene, the moment that made me squeal like a fangirl was was the very last shot, because it kind of confirms something I'm pulling for this season. We saw the quickest glimpse of Batman's silhouette.
Yep.
Basically, I saw bat ears. That's all I was paying attention to. It's like, oh my god, bat ears. There's all bat ears. Oh my god. So, oh boy. So let's get into speculation. Also, we might have some speculation from some commenters, so I'll shout that out as it comes along. You start us off, man. What do you got to speculate on?
Honestly, Dragon, I don't have much in terms of plot. What I do really hope for, though, is that they continue to play around with the time. Like you said, I'd like to see maybe something right at the start of the No Man's Land scenario, right when the bridges go down to kind of get us up to speed. I'd like it if maybe a few episodes down the line, it's bam, day 115 or something like that. You know what I mean? Continue playing around with the time jumps and stuff like that. Other than that, I feel like the pieces are very much in place for Bruce to kind of come around. I feel like what I like about the season and why I don't have much in terms of speculation, Dragon, is I feel like it's just one of those things where it's like I'm just going to kind of sit back and enjoy the ride because we know what the destination is already. So yeah, in terms of that, I don't have much.
All right, let's see. So, so again, I think there's going to be some emphasis on because of this bounty on Gordon's head. There's going to be some emphasis on Gordon in danger when he's alone in no man's land. So the idea is like when you're in a group and no, it's like you walk in pairs sort of thing. Like if Jim's alone, it's like he's in the water with Jaws. Essentially, that's what I imagine we're going to have in no man's land. If Gordon is by himself, people are going to see him and they're going to try to kill him. And hence that alleyway shot that gets me really psyched out of my mind. Like it's a really good looking shot. Let's see. I think I think he's gonna make in No Man's Land the book. Gordon made an alliance with Two-Face, hence the whole trial of Jim Gordon with Two-Face putting him on trial. Now, obviously, there's a big problem with that here because we don't have a Two-Face. but I think I think Barber might take Two-Face's place. I think he's gonna forge an alliance with Barber, give him all these images like Barber and Gordon maybe rekindling a little bit of something. I don't know. I think she's gonna, at the very least, I think she's gonna forge a Two-Face alliance. That's what I think is gonna happen there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think we're definitely gonna have a little bit more of a. We're gonna tease up Jeremiah a little bit. I think we're gonna have like Proto Harley, Echo. Be kind of. I think she's gonna be like the Mr. Penn to Jeremiah. I think she's gonna be the facilitator of Jeremiah's stuff. I think that's what's gonna happen with her. Like she's the go-to for between the GCP. She'll issue the threats again. Very hench girl type stuff. I think Bane's behind a helicopter attack. I think that's Bane. I think what we're going to do, if done right, which again, given the start of the season, there's a good chance of it. I'd love to think that we're going to tease up Bane and maybe like the end of like episode 3 or basically wherever we're going to do before the Panadora episode, we're going to tease up Bane. Maybe get like a glimpse of him there, like we show Bane in Gotham. Mm-hmm. And then the moment right after the next episode, it's the flashback to a random episode that primarily, if not the whole episode, be in flashback to the Panadora stuff, like showing what's the story behind this new guy. And then, of course, we check in with him after Jeremiah's exited the fray of our story. That's what I'd love them to do narratively. We'll see. Let's see. I think we're going to. I think we're definitely overall in the season. I think we're definitely going to be repiecing what Gotham means and kind of the status quo before the big ending of it all again. I think that's what this whole season's going to be about. How we're kind of restructuring the new status quo of Gotham, like how it gets back to becoming a city versus kind of where it's right now. It's like it's in the power structure phase of it, where it's going to eventually end up being. Let's see the big one, two big ones here. Let's see. So. Again, I'd love. Just to piggyback on your thing, I would love more of a Breaking Bad season 5 type kind of. I would love if all the teasers at the start, like all the cold opens, were like Breaking Bad season 5 teases to the future. I'd love it if all of them were.
Oh, that'd be wonderful, Dragon. I'd love that. I think that's a little too ambitious, but don't get me wrong, I'd eat it up.
Basically, like literally do what Breaking Bad season 5 did with that, where you have multiple teases. If not all, then at least a few more. Like a few more like teases, like start like where the tease up the end. Like imagine if one of the episodes ended with that little tease of Batman. Like what if that was the cold open? I'd lose my mind. Like again seeing that at the start of the episode. Like imagine if that's the start of episode 7, the whole Ace Chemical thing. Like we see that the image of Batman compared to that'd be great. Anyway, okay. Here's a biggie. So the witch. I think the witch in I believe. Yes, I'm going to echo some stuff we have in the comments here because finally it's up there.
Okay.
So
by all means,
Winter Ives earlier on he kind of alluded to this, saying, "Oh yes, that witch is definitely that's a plant, all right." And I echo that sentiment entirely. I also am of the belief that the witch is Ivy. We saw like that one scene.
Yeah, that's what I had a feeling of too.
Remember, we saw that one glimpse of Ivy and Bruce Wayne having a scene in one of the things for the marketing or the trailers or something. So I imagine like she would make sense. Like the closest thing you'd have to a witch beyond Gotham just doing what they did in the earlier seasons of like just have a random character be like a witch-like character. I don't know, someone weird looking. I don't know. Either that or the smart call would be let's make it Ivy. Ivy, think about this. Ivy did heal Selena in the past. She healed her in the past and kind of. Remember, she did the whole Batman Returns thing where Selena went out a window and then Ivy healed her from that. So it's entirely possible. That's who you would logically go to, right?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Okay, let me read off some stuff we have in the comments here before we
Okay.
get out of here. Okay, so winter Ives. Another thing that I'm still deciding when it comes to Jerome's plan for Jeremiah. How far did he plan? In Arkham during the breakout, text stated something along the lines of "Stick to Jerome's plan, and everyone will get what they want." So again, remember in season 4, Jerome had that big. He orchestrated he wanted to paint the town crazy. He wanted to break everybody out and do all that stuff. And I think what Winter Ives here is saying is that just to continue reading here is that Tetch got what he wanted, but sorry, Tetch got what he wanted. What I assume is attempted revenge for James. That's what Tetch's plan is, and we know Tetch is going to show up again in the season. Maybe that's what precisely it. He's going to seek revenge on James, but I'm not sure what the Scarecrow's part of the deal is. You know what, Winter? So what do you think about that, T? About them? About whatever? Well, oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I think I noticed a hole in this plan. Here's the thing. Obviously, Jerome's dead, so maybe it's not that far in advance. Like, Jerome's dead, but in regards to other guys getting something like carrying on a plan that was put into play earlier on, I guess again, Tetch could still get revenge on James, whether he got revenge on the previous plan or if he got revenge on the like whatever he's planning currently. So as long as he's still in the revenge seeking process on Jim Gordon. And in regards to Scarecrow, again, Scarecrow's all about this Scarecrow is all about seeing the effects of fear before doing the experiments like Scarecrow traditionally is, but still he's right now, I think what he's doing in No Man's Land be pretty much as much as he ever planned out. So I don't think that deal. I don't subscribe to that Winter Ives, but I'm not necessarily poo-pooing it either. You know, what do you think, Diggy?
I mean, honestly, it's been so long since I watched the season 4 finale. I'd have to go back and watch it to give a proper assessment of it. But
yeah, and I rewatched it before season 5, so that's why I'm definitely more fresh on it. So
yeah, I mean, to me, it feels a little bit more plausible. Like I'm not seeing as many holes in the idea, but at the same point, like you said, you're more fresh on it, so I'm kind of gonna take your word on it.
well, I just think it's pretty much. I think Jerome's plan was like again he wanted to paint the town crazy and drop the whole laughing gas blimp in season 4. Then he died during that plan. So again, the whole idea was just kind of rampant chaos. So in that regards, and everybody kind of got to do what they were doing. Scarecrow helped out with that, and the Mad Hatter he messed with Jim for a bit in that story. So that makes me think. I think that's the. So my opinion, Winter, I think that was the extent of that plan. But again, ipso facto, the same kind of plan would kind of be occurring this season. But anyway, that's really all
I feel like more of the direction they're going in is that the state that Gotham's in now is exactly what Jerome wanted it to be.
Yeah, and Jeremiah's whole shtick was
not necessarily a part of it's not like he didn't he's not controlling things from beyond the grave Walt Disney style or anything. But but I believe that he'd be very satisfied with what he's accomplished.
Sure. And remember, again, it's been a while, so I'll refresh you on this. But no problem. Is that Jeremiah, his whole shtick at the beginning was that, remember, he was doused with the crazy gas, which mainly affected him cosmetically. But again, it was the whole is Joker crazy or is he? Because remember, he was like the super sane crazy type. Remember, the whole and his whole shtick was that he took Jerome's diary of all the sick and twisted fantasies he had, and he was going to do them better. He was going to achieve them in a better way. And essentially that's what kind of gets us to No Man's Land. Thanks to the help of Ra's al Ghul, he achieved that plan of I'm going to restructure Gotham, which in a way, that's kind of what the whole series is going to do at the end of No Man's Land. Get the city back in working order. But again, changed because of what Jeremiah did. So kind of gets what he wants there, with the added benefit of having his brotherly figure in Bruce Wayne come up change as well as the city.
Mm-hmm.
So so in a way, it's pretty much. Unless so Winter Rise, unless you got anything else, I mean, we're gonna have Tiki start us off with the final thoughts here, and if anything comes up before I get in the mind. So okay, so Tiki, start us off final thoughts. What do you got?
Yeah, I was very satisfied with this episode. Like I said, I don't think it's like a groundbreaker in terms of telling an overall I mean, I really love the status quo, the time jump and everything, and the cold open. That was all great. In between, I just feel like it was a really good kind of chess piece episode. You know what I mean? It set everything up on the board. It set it up really well. I never felt bored watching it. It all had a very good forward momentum to it. And now that we know where everyone stands and what the status quo is, I'm excited to see. Basically, I think they did a really good kind of stroke with, like I said, building up to, like, we know where the season's eventually going to cap off at. It's just a matter of how it happens. It's not a matter of what happens. It's a matter of how what happens. And I think that's just such a cool way to tell the story. I'm in for it, man.
Yeah. All right, tell you what, just real quick, just to make sure we get our last licks in here, do a quick plug of Just Giggle, just see if we get anything else here.
Just Giggle It or Harley Quinn and Joker in particular?
Harley Quinn, Joker in particular, yes.
Okay. So yeah, folks, Jeremiah and Jerome are indeed very interesting takes on the Joker mythology, but do you want a more straightforward, kind of cut and dry, like, yeah, that's the Joker, man. That's the essence of the Joker, but also told in a comedically slanted way with a great Harley Quinn attached and along for the ride? You do, then go ahead and check out Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world. Now, folks, here's the deal. We've been, for the longest time, we've been telling people to watch episode 5 over and over again. Dragon, I believe it's time we kind of issue a new mission statement based on what the good folks have told us in that surprise New Year's Eve blowout, or whenever the hell it was. It was like between Christmas and New Year's. I'm not even going to tell the folks what it was about. It was like a secret, like, hey, we're doing a surprise hangout and it's a late Christmas present. It's awesome. But Dragon, suffice to say, I feel like episode 6 is like locked. It's definitely happening. But what we need now, even more than views on episode 5, we need to have people spread it around. You know what I mean? We really need the word to get out. So instead of just sitting there and refreshing the page over and over again and watching episode 5 over and over again like we've been telling people to, Dragon, I want, basically, if everyone watching could just share episode 5 on their Facebook page once. It's like a very simple, like, pledge $1. Like, if everyone could pledge $1, you know what I mean? That's all I ask. Just share it on your Facebook page once. Maybe tag a couple friends who are really into Batman or comics in general, or just appreciate a good comedy with some good serialized storytelling. We really need to, submit to Just Giggle It that they've got a great brand going on and that the word will spread. And that's the main thing right now, Dragon. I feel like they're locked in. We know episode 6 is happening. And we just really need to establish that core audience that's going to stick with it.
Precisely. Okay. All right. My final thoughts. I thought this was an excellent start to season 5. It's an episode all about the new status quo and the new rules of No Man's Land. I love seeing Gotham desperate for a symbol. Again, basically the mission statement of the whole series ever since the beginning has been Gotham will get progressively worse and worse. That'll to the point where it's going to need a Batman even more so. And season 4 definitely got it to a place, and now season 5. I've always applauded the idea that some people have been like, why do No Man's Land before Batman? But again, kind of this retelling of it all and kind of a reimagining where they're kind of taking some chances and kind of playing fast and loose with a lot of things. I got to tell you, No Man's Land as the springboard to, instead of doing like the 0-year event. Don't get me wrong, and they're homaging. Basically, they're doing 0 year, but instead of basically the stuff in that story happening, we have like the big disaster that strikes tied to the Riddler in that comic. We do No Man's Land, another big iconic story that again it's Gotham in shambles. That what if that we do the whole thing of 0 year where a hero rises from that to kind of bring Gotham back from the brink. So what if we did that with Batman, but made it No Man's Land? To me, that's a great idea. I think it's a great way of kind of retelling your stories and kind of getting into one of the great Batman stories that we've kind of seen hinted at in other iterations. Again, the Arkham games and Dark Knight Rises. But I got to tell you, out of both of those, it's kind of a combination of both in a way. So far, I mean, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. So far, it's some of the most faithful stuff I've seen in No Man's Land. It's really good. So again, I love seeing Gotham. So thematically, Gotham is desperate for that symbol of hope, and Gordon's just kind of a band-aid solution until we get Batman. That's pretty much what this episode's about. It's Gordon, trying to preserve law and order in a new ball game entirely. It's it's sort of it's kind of bringing Gordon back. Just about the episode itself, it's kind of bringing Gordon back to the to what his mentality was in season one, where he was a guy who was a soldier going back to his home city. Again, it's kind of war zone to city, and now it's kind of city to war zone. So that's kind of it's kind of those two sides of himself kind of going up against each other. Him kind of factoring where he is and where Gotham's going to end up. Is it going to be a war zone like he was so used to, or is it going to be the city that I always hoped it was going to be? So it's a really interesting place that we're kind of tackling this season from. And now, now both of those are won, and a war is beginning with No Man's. Basically, the war is beginning with this episode. It's kind of is the beginning of a war. Like they're all mad at each other and everything, and like things are about to start popping. And episode 2 is definitely going to be going to kick off. And last thing of spec, by the way, I think trespassing will be about them going to the where the kid came from. The kid came from like a really a section of Gotham that was in trouble. So I think that's where they're going to be trespassing on, because the next episode was called Trespassing. So just want to get that in there real quick. So the episode thematically, it's very strong. It's very tight knit. I love how Bruce and Gordon are starting. I love the parallel storytelling of how both individual in their stories, Bruce and Gordon, are clinging to hope in individual ways, so they're very intertwined in the storytelling. So very solid. So I couldn't ask for it to be. I think it might be the best start of the season we've ever had on Gotham, and how appropriate. It's the last season. We're starting strong, and fingers crossed it's going to maintain that way. So all that said, anything else?
No, go for it.
Thanks for Winter Eyes and everybody else for tuning in, guys. More than welcome. See you next time. And remember, kids, however dark and scary the world might be right now, there will be light. There will be light.
Until next time, when we go exploring Gotham yet again. Overcooked!